Hello, this is Justin back with an engineer's perspective, and I was just watching a video from Uncle Scott's Kitchen. Great YouTube channel, go watch it. And he broke the tip off of his 10-inch Kramer carbon steel kitchen knife. He's gonna go ahead and repair that. And it just got me thinking, and I wanted to make a really quick video talking about tip repair. And so, first, in the context of a kitchen knife. So, I mean, what do I mean when I say tip repair? It could either be a severely bent tip or, you break it clean off. And so really, when you do that, you're left with, in my opinion, three options, right? Let's look at this Messermeister Meridian Elite Stealth here. If you break this tip off, you can either try to maintain the ratio of kind of top to bottom. See how on this Messermeister, the tip is kind of more in line with the spine than it is with the edge. You get that roundness up in this area. So you can try to match what you had before. You can bring the tip higher, closer to the spine, or the last option is you can bring the tip closer to the edge, right? And so let's just say your tip is broken off right there, all right? I don't have an extra hand, so bear with me here. Bam. So what I'm saying is if you broke it off like that, you could grind from the spine of your knife all the way down to the tippy tip right there, and you'd grind all of this off. That would be bringing your tip closer to in line with the edge. Alternatively, you could also grind all the way from maybe back here all the way up in a gentle slope, trying to match that same rocking geometry all the way up to the tip. And the third option, which I'm doing out of order, so forgive me, between what I said first, would be starting here and going to the middle, and then starting down here at the bottom and going to the middle, and kind of matching what was original. So which of those three should you do? That's partially personal preference, but one really shines above the other, in my opinion. If you like a high tip, it might be nice for you to bring that edge all the way up to that spine and keep that higher up tip. Especially really aggressive rock choppers can like the higher tip. The option of going kind of more in the middle and matching what your knife was can be really appealing because you're like, oh, I don't want to screw with it too much, I just want it to be like it was. But really the best option is to bring the spine down to the edge. And this is why. Almost all knives, especially kitchen knives, are going to be doubly distal tapered, meaning from spine to tip, it's going to get thinner, and from spine to edge, it's going to get thinner. And so what happens is if you try to bring this edge up to the spine of the knife to keep that higher tip, you have a very thin cross section behind the edge right here, and that's super important for an easy, high quality cut. But as you go up this blade, it gets thicker just because the spine's thicker than the edge. So as you come up, you're actually sacrificing a lot of edge performance, and not only that, you're doing it right in the tip. And that's the thing, is if this part of the blade is different than that, not a huge deal. You've got a lot of options for flat, but you only have one tip, and it's gotta work correctly. And so in my mind, it is not worth having a higher tip because you're sacrificing that edge geometry. Whereas if you bring the spine down to the edge, you maintain this edge geometry right here. On a lot of knives, it can be different. The very tip tends to be a little bit thinner than, say, back here, but the difference between here and here is not that great at all. So it's really the best option is to come from there to there. Not only that, when you do this sort of a thing, unless you want it to look like a Santoku, where it's very aggressively coming down from the spine, which I'm guessing you don't, you really have to blend that back. And so you're gonna be coming kind of farish back on this to get a smooth transition, right? Meaning you've got to remove a lot of this material. And what happens is if you're going the reverse and you're moving the edge up towards the spine, you're having to blend back, way back into here to get that smooth transition. And what you're doing is you grind away the edge from here to here, you're using up this geometry and it's gonna recede higher and higher and get thicker. So not only are you completely destroying the geometry of your tip area, is you're sacrificing a lot in this front section of your blade in geometry overall. So I really strongly recommend bringing the spine of your knife down to the edge, feather it in like so. Do not go the other way. It's just not worth it. And not only that, you say, well, this is the profile I like. I mean, trust me, here's a Japanese Gyoto, and you can see how much more downturned that tip is. This is a very usable in a rocking motion knife. You know, like I said, personal preference. I prefer a downturned tip like this. Just trust me, if you've never used a Japanese knife, that this is a really, really nice way to do it. I mean, and just point an example, if you're trying to use your tip, you can use it like here instead of having to come way up there, if that kind of makes sense, where that tip makes contact at a much lower angle. It's just, try it. Just trust me, just try it. It's the way to do it. Okay, so that's kitchen knives. Now I'm just gonna move on to pocket knives, a little bit different. So like here is a Spyderco, and you can see it comes straight down. Same issue though, you've got a double distal taper, spine to tip and spine to edge, right? Same recommendation on something, especially this is a thin tip, they do get broken, is come down to it, okay? And once again, just demonstrating what that looks like. So this is how these come from the factory. If you can see that, it's very dirty. Do you see how that tip kind of rolls down at the very end there? That's to give it a little bit extra strength. So just trust me, like that might sound weird doing this, but I'm showing you that this is a normal thing and it's gonna be okay if you bring it down like that, and it's just gonna look like that. Not a huge deal. So now moving on to something more like this. This is a Benchmade Nakamura. This is where you really start to run into some weirdness. Yes, you're gonna sacrifice geometry, but this is a knife, it's got carbon fiber, you know, it's got a look. You don't wanna screw that look up. This would be the situation where I would think really seriously about trying to match that original profile. So this is the case. In a knife that you really care about the looks of, honestly, it's already got pretty bad edge cutting geometry and you probably don't care anyways. I would recommend on something like this, trying to stay in line with this swedge here. There it is, you see that swedge? It's really got a look, and I would try to match that. That's a situation where it'd be worth sacrificing the edge geometry up here and trying to come up to match that so it looks correct. Otherwise, it's just gonna look goofy. Last note, so I just got this stone for Christmas. This is a nice, inexpensive stone here. This is a King, settle down. I think it's just a King Deluxe 300. Yep, King Deluxe 300. It just soaks a teeny bit of water, but it's essentially splash and go, reasonably hard. I've only sharpened one knife on it, pretty fast cutting from what I can tell. But a 300 grit stone is what you're gonna want, something in that area. Think a DMT, diamond plate coarse. This King, a Shapton Pro 320. Those are all gonna be the stones you want to use. You need a very coarse whetstone if you're gonna do this by hand. It's gonna take a long time to do. This would be the situation where you get out a bucket of water and the 1x30 belt grinder just to get you close, and then you finish it off with the stone. But either way, a hard, coarse stone is what you're gonna want. So, those are some considerations for tip repair. That's all I've got for today. Have a good one. Bye.